My name is Bryant. I'm 17 years old, and I've been lucky enough to live not only in different parts of the United States, but Europe as well. I was only 6 years old, and I was pretty much clueless about the whole situation. But my parents basically told me, Kobe, you're going to an Italian school, we want you to learn a new language, and when you're young, you just basically do whatever your parents tell you to do with no questions asked. So I said, fine, I'm gonna learn this new language, which I did. I can speak Italian fluently. And I met a lot of new faces, a lot of interesting people, and Italy became my home. My heart is there, my heart will always be there. So it's very hard. My father told us that he's retiring from the game of basketball and that it was time for us to come back to America.
I mean, every day. I mean, since for 20 years. I mean, it was an everyday process and trying to figure out strengths and weaknesses. For example, jumping ability. Now, my vertical was a 40, it wasn't a 46 or a 45. My hands are big, but they're not massive, right? So you got to figure out ways to strengthen them so your hands are strong enough to be able to palm a ball and do the things that you need to do. Quickness, I was quick, but not insanely quick. I was fast, but not ridiculously fast, right? So I had to rely on skill a lot more. I had to rely on angles a lot more. I had to study the game a lot more. And but I enjoyed it though. So like from the time I can remember when I started watching the game, I studied the game and it just never changed.
I didn't want to come back, and my sisters didn't want to come back. It was very hard getting adjusted simply because I had a lot of trouble understanding English and the slang. But one thing I had in common with some of my other students and classmates was basketball. And unfortunately, because of the lack of communication with my peers, I wasn't invited to parties or friendly gatherings on the weekend. So on Fridays and Saturdays, I would go in my rec room with my basketball and basically dribble myself to sleep. And I think that was the best thing that could have ever happened to me, because during those lonely hours in the rec room, I discovered the hunger, the motivation, and the desire to be the best possible basketball player that I could be.
In today's world, there's so much clutter. It becomes harder for kids to try to weave through a lot of the crap that's out there to find stuff that's actually beneficial to them.
Yeah, I think you reminded me, I think E.O. Wilson said, we're drowning in information, starving for wisdom.
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
Especially, and that's why I think your work is cutting through, because I think what you've managed to do with your new work is that you're finding ways to connect with what people care about, but you're taking it a step deeper.
Yeah.
Right?
But I just feel like in this day and age, our children have become less imaginative about how to problem solve, and parents and coaches have become more directive in trying to mandate or give orders or teach kids how to think and teach kids how to behave and tell them how to behave versus teaching them how to behave. And so that's why I'm creating these stories and creating this content.
In the NBA, it was actually easier, because what I found in the NBA is a lot of guys played for financial stability. And when they came to the NBA, they got that financial stability. So therefore the passion and the work ethic and the obsessiveness was gone. So I'm looking at that, I'm like, oh my God, it's gonna be like taking candy from a baby. No wonder Mike wins all these fucking championships. It's like, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying?